What's up, everybody?
Hey, guys.
Hey, my name is Matthew West, and I'm here with
Ann Wilson.
And it's a special night. My hand is hurting right now because you know why? Because this book is hot off the presses. I practiced that line. I thought it was going to be better. That was a terrible opening line. But tonight we are celebrating the release of a brand new book. If you know of Ann Wilson, most likely you know of her first from her singing voice and her music, right?
Really sweet.
Recording artist Ann Wilson, but you've released a book.
I know.
There's no music in this book.
I know. It's so exciting.
But it is a powerful story.
I'm so excited.
And are you fired up right now?
I'm so excited. This has been a long journey. So to have these books fresh in my hand it's crazy. So exciting. Yeah.
And we're going to talk all about that. We're going to hear your story.
I'm so excited.
We're going to hear why the book. We're going to hear what your life has been like this past year.
Yeah.
And while you guys tune in, which by the way, we are live right now all around the world on every major television network. Did you know that? Are you nervous now?
I'm so nervous.
Seriously, CBS and all of them, right? They're going live. They're interrupting sporting events.
100%.
Just so that the world can hear about Ann Wilson's new book. How about we start with a gift, a celebratory gift? Would you like that?
Yes.
So you're going to be signing these books.
Okay.
But before you get to officially signing, people have the chance to go to premiercollectibles.com/myjesus. That's premiercollectibles.com/what?
My Jesus.
And you can get a copy, one of these very copies that Ann's going to be autographing. But first, let's start with the celebratory gift.
Okay.
Is this the one I show you first? In honor of the release of your brand new book.
This is precious.
The team chipped in and got you a little something. It's a Jelly of the Month Club.
Munchkins! My face! Oh my gosh! How many of them?
So many Munchkins. That's the gift that keeps on giving,
Oh my gosh.
Clark.
Can you guys see this? Wait, I gotta show this.
Show the people.
Look how many Munchkins.
Now, selfishly, I have not had dinner, so I did get them so I could have one as well. So let's start tonight's filming by eating a Munchkin.
I can't wait. Okay.
You can have one too if you want.
Are they going to be able to hear us chomping?
It's okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a pumpkin one that is so seasonal.
Chocolate.
Now,
so good.
Tell everybody. This is a horrible idea because it's kind of dry. Was there anything else in that bag? No?
No.
Okay. So we'll give you another gift later, okay? That's a good way to start our time together, right? Although everybody watching is probably hungry right now.
I know.
Tell everybody, though, why that gift means so much to you.
Well, I'm obsessed with Dunkin.
Dunkin'
Donuts. I have
Donuts.
a love for Dunkin' Donuts. And I just, I feel like it's been blessed by God. Like the coffee, the donuts, the everything, you know, the packaging, it's super cute, vibey. So I just love Dunkin' and I'm obsessed with it. And I've been obsessed like my whole life, pretty much.
There you go. And when I first met Ann Wilson, we were writing songs together. And early on, I learned that Ann has a special drink from Dunkin' Donuts that she likes. And if she doesn't get it, we don't write a good song that day.
No, we really don't.
Thankfully, you had it on the day that we wrote My Jesus.
Yes.
Right?
And you got it for me. That was so sweet. Remember?
What's your drink or what's your favorite drink?
A vanilla iced coffee with almond milk.
Is that it? That's simple.
Yeah, large vanilla iced coffee with almond milk.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought there were more syllables to it. So there you go. So we're starting off this special live signing tonight in the most celebratory way we could think of, which was to partake.
Dunkin', that's so sweet. Thank you.
So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Now I'm going to take some time to brag on you, and you're going to just have to I know that's going to make you uncomfortable, but the people need to know what a crazy and amazing year you've had. Then I'm going to start with most recent history. While you guys are watching right now, they're all going to premiercollectibles.com/myjesus.
Yes.
They're picking up a copy of your book. I'm supposed to remind you to sign one too.
Okay.
And but you, the person signing this new book here, it's not just Ann Wilson signing this book. It's Dove Award winner, new artist of the year. Newly awarded. This was last week?
Yeah, a week ago today.
You won New Artist of the Year at the GMA Dove Awards.
I'm so grateful.
What was that like?
That was amazing.
Yeah.
I remember, well, first of all, I grew up watching the Dove Awards, and then I went in 2019 and kind of went just like as a fan to watch.
Yeah.
And I was just, it was amazing. And then when I found out I was nominated, remember you called me and you told me that I was nominated for 6 Dove Awards. That was so surreal. But honestly, I did not think I was going to win. So it just felt like such a moment of God's faithfulness in that room when I just was sitting there and just seeing all the other artists that were nominated and their talent and everything. And it just felt like such a moment of God's faithfulness. And it was very surreal. Oh, I was terrified.
Do you get nervous when you get on stage to sing? Because you don't look nervous at all. I got some of our team off camera. Do you guys think she looks nervous when she's singing? No, everybody's saying no.
Wow.
You seem cool, calm, and collected.
I think it's a good, like a healthy nervousness. Don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's like but
I'll be like,
want to do your best.
I'll be like
for
sweating
God.
like Chris Farley. Be like, I'm not nervous and I'm doing this, but you just look like.
Well, that's really sweet, but I feel like it's like a healthy nervousness of like,
yeah,
I want to do my best for the Lord and his glory. And I'm also, wanting to give my best out to encourage all the people at every show. So it's like a mix emotions, but most of the time I'm not like super, super nervous. But when I do Dove Awards, I was so nervous.
Well, you sang My Jesus.
Yes.
You
and
also
then What a Beautiful Name.
Yeah. So the worship song, What a Beautiful Name, which tonight we're going to talk about the significance of that song. We'll do that in a few minutes. But you were joined by Brooke. I always say her last name right. Lidgertwood. That just falls right off the tongue. But she came and sang because she's the original vocalist on What a Beautiful Name.
Yes, by Hillsong. Yeah.
So you kind of melded the two songs. Let me tell you about my Jesus, and then what a beautiful name it is. And the whole crowd stood up and worshiped.
It was amazing.
So that was pretty cool, right?
It was amazing.
And it's been a crazy year for you. I'm going to continue to brag on you because you also won K-Love Fan Award for Female Vocalist of the Year, right?
Yep.
Female Artist of the Year.
Yeah.
Did you win I thought you won one more there too. Breakout Artist of the Year, New Artist of the Year.
Breakout Single of the Year.
Yeah, all the breakout ones. And then you're nominated for an American Music Award, which takes place November 20th.
Crazy.
This is insane.
It's amazing. I'm so grateful.
Did you want to be a singer ever since you were a little baby?
I wanted to be an astronaut.
You wanted to be an astronaut.
And work for NASA.
You have landed a galaxy away from that. See what I did there?
I knew you were trying to come up with something.
Okay, so you wanted to be an astronaut. What started your love for, I almost said astronomy. Is that right? Astrology?
Yeah, we don't welcome astrology.
What's
astronomy?
Where
astrology
did your love?
Is the study of like stars, like star signs.
Well, yeah, not that.
That's different.
What started your love of astronautism?
For me, I guess I just, when I was a little girl, was just fascinated with space. Like my mom told me that when I was really little, I would always just like my eyes, like in the car, wherever we were going, I would just be fixed on space. And
like
then,
just staring off into the sky?
Just staring. And I would just be fascinated with it. And then like, as I was growing up and learning about planets and stuff, I just thought it was so cool. But then when I was in 7th grade and I accepted Jesus into my heart and I became a Christian, that's really when I just fell in love with his creation. And I fell in love with Jesus and I wanted to just explore more of his creation. So, and then I took a astronomy class that year and just kept getting more fascinated with it. And then I actually was like naturally gifted at math and science. And I was awful at English and writing and history, which is really crazy that I have a book now.
Because now here you are writing a book and writing songs.
It's crazy. It's like the opposite of what I was naturally gifted at.
So could you do like a complicated, like if I gave you a complicated math problem, like 100 divided by 5, could you do that?
Yes.
What's the answer? Because I'd have to write that down.
20.
It's 20?
Yes.
Did you, fact checkers, is that correct? You nailed it. She didn't even have to Google that. And now that's not a reason to go to premiercollectibles.com/myjesus. I don't know what is. This girl is a genius. You're like that movie, A Beautiful Mind. This is amazing. Now, you mentioned your mom, Lynn Wilson, right?
She's watching right now. She loves you, Matthew.
She loves me?
Loves you probably
She loves
more
you.
than she loves me.
That's not
I was
true.
like, Mom, we're going live. And when she found out you were on here, she was coming on to watch.
And your dad, Kent Wilson, we got to give him a shout out. Does he love me too?
He loves you so much.
Okay, good. I will say I've seen when you call him. Can I tell this?
Go ahead.
Whenever you call your dad, do you know what name comes up on his phone?
Oh, yes. Jacob Wilson. It was my, yes, it is.
Princess Anne.
Oh, when I call
on your
him.
caller
yes,
ID.
yes. That's so sweet.
Princess Anne.
My mom calls me Princess. They call me Princess Anne, and they call my sister Queen Elizabeth.
Yes.
I don't know how she's the queen. I guess it's because she's older, but I get the princess title.
Well, take a moment as you're signing these books to say something to your parents, because they've had a huge hand in this and they're in your corner believing in you. They're celebrating this book release as much as you are today. So what would you want to say to your family tonight?
I want to just thank you guys for being such an incredible family. This book would not be here without you guys and your support and just the way that you all have loved me through every moment of my life. And honestly, this book was really fun to write because my parents and my sister got to be involved in it.
Yeah.
Me and the writer of the book, we both wrote the book together, but we were able to sit down and kind of interview each of our family members to get the most out of just the stories. You know, there's memories that I didn't remember about my brother that my sister did, and same with my parents. And so you guys are amazing, and I'm so grateful for y'all's support. And yeah, honestly, this book is, I don't even really view it as a book. Like, I view it as just my life and memories that I'll have forever that I can share with my kids someday. And, you know, there's things that I'm going to forget as I get older, but now I have a book to hold all that in there.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So it's just a gift.
Well, I always talk about the power of our stories, and for you to actually have your story in story form in a chapter by chapter book. You've been telling your story through your music up until now, and now you're getting the chance to unpack that story on a deeper level. And we're going to talk about what's in this book. But I have to start just by saying your family's amazing.
Thank you.
We love your family, and their story is for your family to be willing to share the entire story, knowing that it's going to bring glory to God, is a really special thing. So shout out to Mom and Dad and Elizabeth out there. Congratulations. Tonight is a special night for the whole Wilson family.
Absolutely.
We're going to get to more book stuff, but I want to ask you, we're also going to be answering questions from people who have already purchased the book at premiercollectibles.com/
My Jesus.
Very good. So I want to get to some of those questions as well. And I'm going to ask a music related one before we get to some more of the book stuff. And I want you to show everybody your signature. Let's see.
Hold on. Let me
hold one up. Because I want to make sure you're not. Okay. Yeah. Let's see.
What do you want to make sure?
I just want to see what your signature looks like here. So everybody can see. So when they get their copy, they'll know, wait, I didn't get like some kind of. Okay. She's too lazy to finish her last name.
I can't.
Okay, so she's really signing them, guys.
I am.
This is exciting. Okay, so
you want to share with them what you said before we started this?
About what?
About my last name.
What did I say about your last name?
With the Kentucky thing. You got to tell them.
About Kentucky?
Yeah.
And
you remember this? Oh,
wait, what did I say?
It was something like you can't finish your, like, if you're from Kentucky or something, you can't finish your last name.
I did not. I would never make a joke about spelling in Kentucky in the same. I would never do that. Especially since you answered that very difficult math problem.
Exactly.
Here's a question from Christina from Louisiana. She wants to know, who are your musical influences? So maybe this is a fitting question since we're talking about you being from Kentucky.
I love Johnny Cash and Dolly Parton.
Come on.
Those are two of my favorite, like, just kind of sound-wise, I love Johnny Cash's lyrics to his songs. They're so deep. But I'm not just saying this, but I really do love your music. And I grew up listening to your songs.
What?
So I feel like there's a lot of Christian music artists that have really influenced me.
Yeah, you grew up on Christian music.
I grew up on country music with my brother, and then my parents always would play Christian music in the car. And I really just fell in love with songs on Christian radio, and you were a huge part of that. Casting Crowns for King and Country. Lauren Daigle was one of my favorites when I was younger.
Yeah.
And, so just a lot of.
You're on tour with Casting Crowns right now,
which is super surreal. And
a bunch of shows here between now and the end of the year.
Yeah.
Might as
Got a
well
lot
make sure
left.
people know about that if you want to see Anne in
Y'all should
concert.
come out for sure.
She's out with Casting Crowns and Kane.
Yep.
Till December.
Yep.
And then you're going to be with Phil Wickham in
Phil Wickham,
California.
yes. 4 shows.
Have you ever been to California?
Yes.
Being from
many
Kentucky?
times.
You have? Okay.
I have, and it's beautiful.
Let's see. Vinny from New Jersey. That can't be right. That's
love
like
that.
so textbook. Vinny from Jersey. It actually says he's from MAHWA, Mawa.
Oh, awesome.
Mawa, New Jersey. That sounds
I've never
made
heard
up.
of that.
Somebody made up this
You.
character. Vinny, are you for real, dude? Vinny wants to know, hello, Ann. Thanks for sharing your musical gift and inspirational enthusiasm. Do you still have any interest in space exploration, either as a hobby or as a recreational,
100%.
or like reading and stuff? Do you plan to go into space with Jeff Bezos from Amazon at some point?
That would be amazing.
You still want to do that?
Yeah, actually, I was just talking to my band about this on tour the other day, that if an opportunity came up, let's say years from now, that I could go to space and like buy a ticket to go to space and come back, 100% would
you
do
would?
it. 100%.
Not me.
You wouldn't?
Heck no.
But like, what if you knew for sure you're coming back? Like, it's just a quick trip. You wouldn't want to go see it.
I don't. I went skydiving once, and that was high enough.
Oh, that's one of my things on my bucket list. I want to go
is?
skydiving so bad.
Well, I've done it for you, so you don't have to. Who would you like to collaborate with? Marcy from Martin, Georgia wants to know. Vinny, thanks for your question, by the way. I bet you're real. I was just giving you a hard time.
Sorry about that, Vinny.
Sorry, Vinny. Forget about it, as you might say in New Jersey. But Marcy wants to know, who would you like to collaborate with? Would it be Dolly? Would it be
Dolly Parton would be, that would be amazing. But I also love country music, and I love Morgan Wallen.
Morgan Wallen.
So I would die.
Favorite Morgan Wallen song?
Sand in My Boots.
Sand in My Boots? I thought you were going to say Don't Think Jesus.
Well, that one's a good one.
That's a good
All
one.
of them are
It's
literally incredible songs. So.
But you really like Jesus songs best.
I do. I like Jesus songs best.
You have one album out.
Yes.
It's called My Jesus.
Yep.
And that's how we met. You came to Nashville. What was your first? How old were you when you first came to Nashville to start writing songs?
I had just turned 17.
17.
Yeah,
and
junior in high school.
A lot of this story, really all of this story of how your music career came to be is in your ministry is in this book as well. Are you getting tired of signing?
No.
You're doing a good job.
I've signed 7,000 CDs before, so this is nothing.
Whoa.
This is awesome.
You heard that, guys? She
7,000.
just issued a challenge. So that means we need to sell 7,001 books to go for the Guinness record. Which, by the way, Ann Wilson's been up since 5 a.m. doing interviews. You were on the 700 Club.
I was on the 700 Club this morning, which was awesome.
And you've just done a ton of stuff today.
Yeah, it's been a good day, though.
So we're finishing and we're hanging. It's like no pressure.
No pressure.
And people are going and they're ordering the book right now. How cool is that?
This is awesome. This is so
technology.
Fun. I love it.
I would like to, I've got another gift I'm going to give you, but first, can we start talking about the book a little bit?
Absolutely.
So you wanted to be an astronaut. You still would go into space if given the chance.
100%.
Okay. Did you ever want to go to the space camp thing that they used to have?
I did. I never got to go, but I always wanted to go.
Yeah.
That would have been awesome. I was actually kind of planning on it before my life forever changed, but was definitely very interested in that. Yeah.
You have an amazing family. You grew up in Lexington, Kentucky. You're 20 years old now, right? Crazy. You don't tell people that very often.
I feel like I do a little bit more now.
I feel like everybody watching, raise your hand if you're surprised to hear that she's 20. Wherever you're watching from, are you surprised? See how many hands went up? Can't see, but it's thousands.
Can't see, but
I bet they're all surprised because, like, when I think of 20 years old, I don't know that I think of as mature and composed.
That's really sweet. I think God just does things with certain people, and I feel like, you know, I wouldn't be this mature and wouldn't be who I am without the tragedy that I went through. Which is, I lost my brother in 2017, and he died in a car accident. And so a big part of who I am today is because I lost Jacob and what God did in my life, and just the calling he placed on my life. I kind of had to grow up quick, you know? So I feel like I'm so much older than 20 because I've lived so much life in these short 5 years since losing him. But It's
Well
in
said.
a good way. So
Let's talk about that. Like, and I know that's not easy to talk about, and yet you're willing to tell this part of your story in the form of a book, through the songs on your record, when you go on tour.
Yeah.
You've made a decision that you're going to allow God to use even what I call like the broken chapters. And I think every one of our stories is going to be touched by some good, some bad, some broken. And we're going to be, sometimes we get handed chapters of our story that we wish were not in the book.
Yeah.
And I know this book has chapters like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Specifically June 7th.
Yeah.
Can you talk about why June 7th is a date that will always be deeply meaningful for you and your mom and dad and sister?
Yeah. So June 7th was the day that my brother passed away in a car accident. It was just turned midnight on June 7th, and we were all in deep sleep. He didn't live with us at the time, so we weren't expecting him to come home. And it was about 3:30 in the morning, and my sister comes running in the room, and she asks me if I would just go downstairs and check and see what's going on. My sister is legally blind without her contact lens. She cannot see anything unless it's like right here. So she couldn't see what was going on, but she heard people downstairs. And so I run down the stairs, freaking out. And I thought maybe something had happened or someone had gotten in trouble. I just didn't know, maybe someone had broken in the house, whatever. So then that's when I see policemen standing in front of my front door. And I just immediately felt this just sick feeling all over. And I just knew something was wrong. But the worst sight I think I've ever seen in my whole life was when I saw my parents. My mom was screaming and crying and pulling her hair, and my dad was crying. And I was 15, and I had never seen my dad cry one time in my whole life. He had never ever cried in front of me. Even my mom said he had never cried in private to her over anything. My dad just is really strong and held the emotions in. And so I just knew, I bypassed my mom because she was in such despair. But then I went to my dad, and I just said, "Dad, is he dead?" And he looked back up and was crying, and he just said, "Yeah, Ian, he's dead." And I just remember this hopeless feeling. It just felt, I still can't even believe that he's really gone. It still feels very surreal that he's not with me anymore. But it just felt so hopeless. And that was kind of that moment. And the book goes into detail, but the moment that I just knew I had a decision right then and there, in that moment, was I going to trust God, or was I going to completely resent him and do this whole thing by myself? And I mean, you have a choice to make in your own life too, in those moments. So I chose to trust God. And honestly, I believe that yes, in that moment is a huge part of what he's doing now, and why he's done so much with my life is because I was willing to say yes. And that's not to say, look at me, but to say, you need to do that for those watching that are going through something hard and traumatic and walking through a tragedy. There's blessing on the other side of trusting God. And so it's about making that decision and saying yes to him. And he's going to bless you for that.
One of the things I noticed in getting to know your family and hearing from your parents and from you, and the different sides of the story of how you each navigated the path through this tragedy, and throughout the book, I can see how you guys were strong for each other. And your parents have told me even just how you, even at a young age, there were times where one family member's leaning on another one, depending on the day. And
very true.
And yeah, what was that like walking through the days after with your mom and your dad and seeing them grieve, like you said, seeing them obviously grieve? This is the moment no parent ever wants to experience. But what was it inside of you that gave you the strength to be strong even for your family on the days that they needed you to be strong? And then there were days where they'd be strong for you, but where did that come from? Was it your faith?
It was a weird thing because I've always kind of been a mother type. I like to take control, and I like to be in control of all of my surroundings.
I'm that way
I've
too.
always been that way. I'm very independent. And so up until that point in my life, I'd kind of always been that way, but I'd never really had to be strong for my family for any particular reason. Our life was great. God blessed us. We had a roof on top of our head. We had food on our table. Everything in our life up until that moment was great. We all knew Jesus, and we all had close relationships with him. And so up until that point, I really didn't need to be strong. But then when Jacob died, I just felt like I had to be the strength for my family, which took a toll on me because when you suppress all of that grief and emotions, it's going to come back to bite you later on, which it did. But I think we were just able to really be there for each other through God. So anytime like my sister was having a breakdown or my mom or dad was, I'd be there for them or vice versa. But like there was such, we were just able to like rely so much on the Lord. And what was beautiful is that God would give us what we needed through each other every single time, you know?
Yeah.
Would never let us down.
How have you dealt with that? Like you talk about like suppressing that and just kind of being strong through seasons. Sometimes like we don't equate vulnerability with strength, but like what you're actually doing and telling that story, even what you just said is really vulnerable to say like, hey, even suppressing stuff will come back to bite you. And it did.
It's awful.
How have you dealt with that? Like to find emotional and spiritual health?
I really didn't deal with it until last fall of 2021. You know, my Jesus went number one. It was amazing. Life was great. Things were so much success. But then it was like, I hit a moment where I realized I can't keep doing this. I haven't even grieved my brother. I can't go on stage and tell people about Jacob when I haven't grieved him. So I went through counseling, and my counselor, which is one of my best friends, I love her so much, we walked through the grief cycle, and you can look it up online. It basically walks through all the stages of grief. And it was really, really hard, but I faced the loss of Jacob. And also, I will say what was so cool about this is I was writing this book at the same time as I was going through counseling. And writing this book was the most healing thing I think I've ever done in my whole life, because I had to face it. I had to go and dig memories out about my brother. I had to go through Jacob's, like we had to go through his text messages and his phone, you know, every little thing that like was part of Jacob, who Jacob was, and going through his little notes in his room and everything. Like that was so painful, but it actually brought so much healing.
Wow.
And was able to just kind of remind me of what God's doing through the tragedy. And so it was just, I felt like that was kind of the first moment I faced it was last fall, which was just a year ago. So, I mean, 4 years of not dealing with it, suppressing things, getting distracted. You know, I was writing songs and having success and it was fun and great, but then it got too much to bear.
Well, the crazy thing is for so many people in our lives, 4 years, you can blink and 4 years can be 14.
Yeah.
And 14 can become 40 where you haven't dealt, right? Like if you don't deal, you don't heal. Like that sounds like an evangelist thing, but that's the truth, right? Whatever it is in our lives. And so for you to be realizing that even at such a young age, and I have to tell you, like, as people are watching this right now, like me, I know that there's a high probability that if you're watching this, and since Anne's the math expert, she would tell me the exact probability, but like all of our lives are touched by grief. And there's a chance that you're watching this right now and you can nod your head and say, I've lost somebody, maybe even recently, somebody that I love dearly, and I'm aching and I'm still having really bad days. Like bad days still come, don't they?
Absolutely.
It's not just about like some quick fix. Oh, I went through the grief cycle. I met with the counselor one time. Now I never have a bad day.
No, it's you know, grief is like a wave. It comes and it goes, and you just deal with it when it comes. And I think one of the most incredible reminders is I always remind myself that God didn't make us for this fallen world. He actually made us for the garden in the beginning of time, when everything was perfect and there was no sin and there was no brokenness. And so we're actually not meant to have to go through this. We're not made to have to go through this. But I so believe, and I've seen it in my life, that God gives you all that you need to get through. And so when those waves of grief come, you just give it to God and he's going to get you through it, you know, but that's just part of what we have to carry on.
That's
this
real
side.
life. That's truth.
Yeah.
And when you share your story of grief, like I guarantee you somebody out there is being ministered to right now. And I can't encourage you guys enough. In all seriousness, like we're pushing you to go check this book out. Not because we want to sell a book. No. Anne didn't write a book because she wanted to sell a book. Yeah. She wrote a book because she wanted God to shine brightly through the cracks in the story. Yeah. And for somebody out there who's dealing with grief to begin to say, okay, I'm not going to push this down. I'm going to deal. And so in reading somebody else's honest story, it can help each one of us get in touch with our own. Yeah, right. And so I can't encourage you guys enough, or maybe you know somebody who's battling and just dealing with some extreme pain or grief or loss in their life. This is not just a book about grief, but speaking specifically to those broken chapters called grief and loss in our lives. This book speaks directly to that and will help remind us, just like the title of the book, where our hope is found in our Jesus. So at premiercollectibles.com/myjesus is where you can get one of the copies that she's autographing. And speaking of that, Lacey from Cave City, Arkansas said, "Hey, Ann, your story, God's work in you is such an inspiration. I lost my mother, my last earthly parent 4 months ago, and your music has been so healing.
Oh my
What
goodness.
is something about your grief journey that has taken you by surprise, or a piece of advice that you might have for others going through their first year of grief? Keep up the great work. You're such a light. God bless."
That's really sweet.
So that's from Lacey. How cool is that?
First of all, I'm so sorry for your loss. That's so hard. And again, we weren't made to go through loss. So there's such a part of us that we don't know even how to deal with it. But I'm so sorry that you're having to go through this, because that's just so painful. And I'll say the first year is the worst year. The pain is so deep and so wide, and every day just felt miserable. I don't remember one moment of joy that first year. I don't remember one moment of happiness, but I do remember peace, and I do remember God being so faithful. And little by little, I started to see my joy coming back and my happiness coming back, and moments of gratitude coming back. And I'd say to get through the first year, you've got to fix your eyes on Jesus, because that's the only way you're going to get through. I really believe that I would not have survived the loss of my brother without Jesus. I don't think I would have been able to get through it. I feel like something would have happened where I would have ended my life or something, to be completely vulnerable because of how painful it was. And so I think you've just got to rely on God during this time, and he's going to give you all that you need. Like I said earlier, when you choose to trust God and when you choose to worship him through your pain, he's going to bless you for that. And so really, that's all I can say is just trust God.
Yeah.
And I know that seems like cliche and people say that, but like, it's genuine. Like, when you trust God, when you choose to trust him, he's going to bless you for that, and you're going to get through, and everything's going to be okay in the end, because you have the hope. And that's the whole point of this book, From Heartache to Hope. It's the reminder that when you have Jesus, we have hope through him.
Yeah. One of the things I love is you close every chapter with a note from you, right? So you're telling the story, and then you send the reader on with some thought-provoking, like just really more devotional thoughts.
Absolutely.
And at the end of the chapter, there's actually a chapter titled June 7th, 2017. That's why I wanted you to tell what the significance of that date is, and you're going to read it in greater detail as you read through the book. But can I just read what you wrote? Would that make you uncomfortable if I read a little bit?
No, you're good.
This was a note from Anne on page 51. God is real and God is good. When I experienced the worst day of my life, these were the foundational truths I clung to. From the beginning, Satan tried to convince Eve that God was not good, and he still tries to slip us the same lie in our times of loss.
Yeah.
When our hearts are ripped open in pain, the enemy of our souls shoots its fiery arrows and tries to convince us that God does not have our best interests at heart and that he's not good.
Yeah.
It can be easy to believe these lies, not only because we are vulnerable, but also because our experiences seem to agree. That's really true. But more real than the enemy's whispered lies is the reality that God draws near to our shattered hearts. In his goodness, he enters our pain. I've heard it said, what if the point of Job, who experienced a great deal of pain, what if the point of Job wasn't why God allows suffering, but how God is present in our suffering?
Yeah.
At the worst moment in my life, God spoke to me and asked me to trust him. He promised to help me through it. He did not turn his back on me. He came in even closer. In the days that followed, he did the same for each member of my family.
Yeah.
Safety and healing are found in trusting in God's character and his word. No wonder the enemy tries so hard to keep us from it. And then you close with Psalm 34, 17 and 18, which I love. The righteous cry out and the Lord hears and delivers them out of all their troubles. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves those contrite of spirit.
I love that.
Those words will preach, and they're already speaking to people. Zach ordered a copy of the book tonight.
Ah, thank
He's
you, Zach.
in Millbrook, Alabama,
That's
and he said, "I lost my dad to cancer on Valentine's Day of 2020.
I'm so sorry.
Your song really made an impact on my life lately and has helped me through these days," which is crazy to think about, that people are being ministered to by a song that they may not even have known was partially inspired by the story. Absolutely. And yet it's resonating deep within, because think about the lyrics of the first verse, right?
Are you past the point of weary?
Are you past the point of weary?
Is your burden weighing heavy?
Is it all too much to carry? Let me tell you about my Jesus. Like it really does carry your story, but maybe without the names and the faces and the dates and all the colors that this book now unpacks on a deeper level. So thanks to Zach. He said he can really relate to losing someone close, and he was sorry to hear about your brother, Jacob.
That's really sweet.
You already sort of touched on this. We said, how do you continue to hold on to the joy you have, especially when the devil tries to come at you from all sides to steal your joy and put fear into your mind? So that's why I read that section of the book, because I felt like that in reverse order, that section is the answer to his question. So really powerful stuff. I got to say too, last night we did an in-person book signing.
That was so fun.
The coolest little bookstore.
It was so cute.
In Franklin. It was cute. Franklin, Tennessee, called Landmark Books, right? And we had people come from all over. They showed up. We hardly had any notice. Like, I think it was maybe a week they'd been talking about it. We had about 150,000 people showed up, right? Wasn't it? No, but it was so cool. And there were all these little kids showing up to meet Ann Wilson. All these little girls.
Sweet.
There was one girl who showed up from 2 hours away.
Yes, with a doll.
And she had a doll dressed like an astronaut
doll, because she knew that I loved space.
She knew your story already.
Isn't that cute?
What does that mean to you? Like, seriously,
I don't even have words. I don't even have. I can't even like process what God's done. Like, it's amazing, and I'm so grateful that first of all, when I started as an artist, my goal wasn't to reach young people necessarily. Like, my goal was literally just to talk about loss and share with people, because that's all I had experienced. But to see now how little girls are coming and supporting my music and looking up to me is the most precious thing, and it melts my heart. Because I remember being that little girl and looking up to Lauren Daigle and other female artists. So to now be the girl that people look up to is so special, because I did not expect that. I didn't plan that. I really just was putting out my story of loss to the world and hoping it impacted people. So, and then now we've started Hey Girl Nation, and we're starting these amazing things to continue to just, spread the word of God to all these young women. And it's been really cool to see.
Well, as a dad of 2 daughters, like, I can speak directly to that as well. Just like the need for positive female role models in their lives as well. So really it made my heart so happy to see all these dads. Aww. There was a soldier. He was in his uniform.
Oh, that was so sweet.
And he got off of work. He lived in St. Louis.
Isn't that insane?
Got off work early and drove his little girl to Nashville,
which is
for the chance to take a picture with you.
Like 6?
That's 5 hours. 5 hours away.
Like that. It's amazing.
That's pretty cool.
So grateful.
So I thought that
also, I got to make a point. I'm signing my full last name because he was making fun of me. So
okay, so let's see how your name has changed here.
Okay.
Here you go, guys. So look at her signature.
So some of them are going to have W, and then some of them are going to have
signature
my last name.
Is growing right before our eyes. There you go. So some of you are going to actually get the full last name.
Yeah, because someone made fun of me about it.
Now, I don't want to give the whole story away. We obviously want people to read the book to hear how you went from being an astronomer. That was a joke. To go how you went from having a passion to become an astronaut to now sitting here celebrating the release of the book and having people drive hours to come and meet you because they love your music that much. Like, you landed really a long way away from the dream you had as a kid. But I think we can both agree that you're exactly where God has you. I'm so
grateful.
When people read the book, you're going to get to hear you're going to get to read about the incredible story of how Anne sang for the first time, and how that caught the attention of Nashville and now has led you here. I really don't want to give that part of the story away tonight.
No.
We shouldn't, right?
But I do want to, not to go to the end of the book, but I do want to talk about something that just came to my mind. This book like is so special to me, but specifically the last chapter of the book. You've read the full book, right?
Oh,
the last
100 times.
chapter is so special to me. And
talk about it.
You read it? I just processed that. Okay. I really feel like the end just so much sums up the goodness of God, and it will make you cry your eyes out. I was reading the audiobook, which also came out today.
Yes, which you read yourself.
Which I read it, and I went through, and that was really hard to like keep it together and not cry my eyes out. But I read this last chapter, and I just had tears filling up in my eyes because it's such a testament to the goodness and faithfulness of God.
That's awesome.
And it's a really, really beautiful story. And so when you guys get this book, you need to go read the last chapter and really like soak in. I mean, obviously read the book from the beginning to end, but it's really special.
But see, that tells me so much that like if your book is moving you, right? Like same for our music. Like if we write a song that doesn't speak to us, how can we expect it to speak to other people? Right? It's got to come from a real place in our lives and in our stories. And I just have to say, I'll brag on you again, but like the way that Ann and I met is I do a lot of songwriting with young artists who are coming up, and I got the opportunity to begin sitting with Ann when you first came to Nashville. And the real deal is somebody who comes in and is willing to share their story and say, here's my why, here's what I want my music to be about. I want it to be unapologetic in what my faith means to me, which is really how a song like My Jesus was born, like because you wanted to make that statement. Yeah. And then I'll never forget you sharing the story about your brother Jacob as we were sitting there writing. And I was so struck with how honest and sincere you were willing to be to some people who, you know, like you invited us in to your story. Absolutely. And you say that from the stage sometimes. You're like, tonight I want to invite you into my story. And you do that every single night, and people feel welcomed into your story. That's really sweet. And I think they're finding a way to get in touch with their own story as well. You mentioned Hey Girl Nation too. I want to just touch on that. Yes. HeyGirlNation.com. Yeah. You go there after you go to premiercollectibles.com/MyJesus to get your autographed copy. You're almost done, by the way, which is perfect because we're about to wrap up. So you literally have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more copies to sign. And I have a feeling you sold way more. So we're going to have you signing throughout the night and into the morning. Into the morning. I love it. So you're going to have to like feast on munchkins and keep your energy up. But out of this desire to like really connect, especially with young women and young girls, remind them who they are. You have a song on the radio right now. Yes, called Hey Girl. Hey Girl. I'm so excited about it. We wrote this song together. Yeah, what's the heart behind that song? Well, we wrote it together. I think we wrote it after My Jesus. We did. I feel like, in 2020. And I had just gotten to know Matthew and Jeff Pardo, which we were the three that wrote My Jesus. We wrote No Place Like Home together, which is another song on my record. And I really was just kind of sharing with them like what I was going through. And I feel like all women in general, but specifically young girls, go through some sort of struggle with their identity and remembering who they are in Jesus. And I had just been going through such a struggle with my insecurity and just letting Satan tell me who I was and following the ways of the world and realizing that nothing was going to satisfy. And so that's really when you said something about let's write a song called Hey Girl and really speak to women and of all ages about their worth in Jesus, and kind of an identity song, but more than that. But then when we wrote the song, it was so special. But then it felt like there was so much more to the song that we could really do. And so we put it out on the record. I didn't think it was going to be a single. We ended up putting it out on the radio. And then now we created Hey Girl Nation, which I'm so excited about. I can't wait to see where that's going to go. But it's a platform that's really just for all women. And we have so much planned for the future with that. So just it's going to be awesome. Devotional content, ways of building community. We're picking a Hey Girl. Is it a Hey Girl of the Month that we're picking? Yes. Highlighting and hearing people, their testimony. That's been amazing. It's awesome stuff. Before we wrap up, we're going to give you one more gift. I want to give a shout out to Hannah from Williamstown, New Jersey. A lot of New Jersey, which is interesting. I wouldn't expect the people of New Jersey to love someone from Kentucky. But this, as we get towards the election, to see this kind of unity coming together.
Oh my gosh.
East meets West, North meets South. Thank you, Hannah, for showing us what it's like. She wants. What's your favorite Bible verse and why? Go.
Oh, 1 Peter 5:10, which is in this book. It's my brother. It was my brother's verse. He wrote it all over his room on note cards. We found it after he passed away. And it says, and after you have suffered for a little while, the God of all grace will himself confirm, restore, and establish you. Super
That's
special.
awesome. Abby from Dunlap, Tennessee says, what do you like about being a singer and what do you hate about being a singer?
Oh,
so
man.
Since Abby, that's disqualified because you asked 2 questions, but no, I'm kidding. What do you hate about it? Hate's such a strong word.
I don't hate anything.
What do you dislike?
I don't hate anything. I love what I get to do. I think that it's kind of hard. You know what I mean? I mean,
It's hard.
It's hard being away from family. It's hard traveling.
It's hard, yes.
It's hard not seeing your loved ones a lot. But it's so beautiful knowing that, like, I wouldn't do this if it wasn't for God. I wouldn't do any other genre because at the end of the day, I know I'm doing it for God and his kingdom. And that's what makes it worth it. Yeah.
Maya from White Salmon, Washington. Thank you. Just want to give her.
What's it called?
White Salmon, Washington.
That's
I
awesome.
think people are making these up. I don't know if that's a real place.
Oh, man.
Naomi from Iowa Falls, Iowa.
Awesome. Hi.
She wants to know how hard is it to become a very popular Christian artist? Very hard. Can we just say that? Let's see. We already talked to Vinny from New Jersey.
Yes.
Christina,
I love him. He's
Lacey.
awesome.
We're going to give a shout out to Kimberly from Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. That's a real place. I've heard of that. What would you say to someone who struggles with the loss of a parent? Well, I feel like we've touched on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. Definitely Kimberly, which these people already purchased the book.
Amazing.
So Kimberly, like
Thank
specifically,
you.
we want to
Thank
say
you.
a prayer for you that as you read through these pages, that the Lord will speak to you in a powerful way.
Yeah.
Riley from Galesburg, Kansas, shout out to you.
Awesome.
Riley wants to know what's your favorite song. Well, how about what's your favorite song on the record other than a song that's been on the radio?
Closer to God.
Closer to God. I feel like you answer that differently different times.
I do, but
Sometimes
right now
you say
that
no
song
place like
is like
home.
my lifeline. I love that song.
What about God Thing?
Love God Thing.
God
Love Mamas.
Mamas.
Closer to God is, I would say, the most emotional song on the record,
There
other
you
than
go.
A Place Like Home.
So if you
And it
haven't
just-
heard that, go listen to
and
it.
it's just a song that still speaks to me in my, like, I still play it for encouragement for myself.
It's awesome.
You know what I mean? It's one of those songs that it'll probably forever be one of my favorites.
There's not a bad song in the bunch. And they can go listen to that album everywhere.
Yes. Yeah.
Are
It's
you
been out
working
for a
on
while
new
now.
music?
I am.
Yeah.
Christmas music.
Wait, can we tell people?
I don't know.
We can, right?
But kind of.
You might have
We've got some
something
music coming out.
like
That's
very
probably what we
soon.
should say. Very soon. Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Let's see. Bob from Chicago, Illinois.
Bob, I love Bob.
Do you know Bob?
He makes me those little chocolate, or he buys those chocolates for me, the records. You've seen those on my Instagram. Bob, he's amazing.
What's up?
He's been to 11 of my shows.
Bob.
And he gets me these chocolates from this place where he lives.
We like
and
that.
they're shaped like a record and they have my song titles on them.
Well, Bob.
He just came to a show in Kentucky the other week. And
Look at Bob getting a
he's so
shout out.
sweet.
That's awesome, Bob.
you're the
Thank you.
best.
What if it's a different Bob?
I don't think
This
it
guy's
is.
like, I don't know what she's talking about. What if there might be two Bobs
It might be.
in Chicago?
But he's from Chicago, so if it is you, Bob, thank you.
What did it feel like? Michael from West Lafayette, Indiana. That's a real place. I've been there. What did it feel like to have? Yep. It's where Purdue University is. I believe.
Yeah.
What did it feel like to have the entire K-Level Awards audience on their feet and singing My Jesus along with you when you sang at the Fan Awards?
That was amazing.
Right.
That was a really, really fun moment. I think what was my favorite moment was looking down and seeing Lauren Daigle sing my song.
What?
And she was the first person to stand and everyone else stood.
She was a little out of tune. I was standing near her.
Oh
She
my
did not.
Right?
Right? That's cool,
amazing.
isn't
Yeah,
it?
that was amazing.
Let's see. You actually had one person from Kentucky say hello. Hannah.
Amazing.
Hannah from Kentucky,
Hi.
Chloe from Indiana, Tyler from Minnesota,
That's
Catherine
amazing.
from Wisconsin, John from Forked
Wisconsin.
River, New Jersey. So many New Jersey people.
Yeah, I love New Jersey.
Do
Look
you?
At this. I do.
This is a beautiful place. We love New Jersey. Okay, one more gift for you. Celebrating the release of Ann Wilson's brand new book. She's not just a singer. She's not just a planet. a planet person. What's that called? Astronaut? What's your favorite planet of all the planets?
Saturn.
Saturn. Why?
It's just so cool.
It's just so cool.
It's amazing.
There you go. That's a famous quote. I feel like I just heard like Abraham Lincoln giving one of his speeches. It's just so cool. All right, here's one more gift for you before we sign off. And speaking of gifts, you can go to premiercollectibles.com/myjesus. And you can pick up not just one copy, right? They can pick up multiple copies, can't they? You can get multiple copies for gifts for this holiday season.
I gotta pause.
Yeah, we got you something.
Chick-fil-A gift card.
We got you the Christian chicken.
I love Chick-fil-A. Dunkin' and Chick-fil-A are my two favorite things in all the world. I'm so excited about this.
We know you're on tour.
So much.
We want to make sure you're staying well fed. One quick note on that Chick-fil-A gift card: they are closed on Sunday. So. And they're not the official sponsor of this book signing, but they could be. And
come on,
be sure to give us a call. So premiercollectibles.com/myjesus. After this airs, you can still go there. And we have done a lot of research actually on the book. And we have found scientists have proven that they fit perfectly into Christmas stockings.
They do.
They are literally the perfect stocking stuffer. So you can buy 20 copies for you and then 19 of your closest friends. Or maybe you could split it up and it could be, what's 19 divided by 2?
I can't.
You could buy some for your enemies. That's a great, right? Choose kindness. So if you live in New Jersey, you could buy something for someone in Kentucky or vice versa. Good. My goal was to make you laugh. Nailed it. Ann Wilson, great job. Thanks to everybody for watching.
Thank you guys so much.
And we're so proud of you and so excited. The best is yet to come. God's going to use this story and this book. And he already is. But just today is a very special day because it's the beginning of an exciting chapter of how God's going to use your story in a whole new way to speak to people. So thank you guys for watching.
Thank you guys so much. Y'all are the best. Thanks.
Hey, this is John Acuff, New York Times best-selling author of 7 books and someone who's done a live signing. If you like the one you just watched, make sure you check out our YouTube channel. It's full of amazing authors having great conversations and signing books for viewers just like you. So make sure you subscribe, and thanks for watching today.